we'll start off with, since people don't know you yet because you're not super famous yet, let's just start off with your name, where you're from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. My name is Michelle Ramsey. I'm from Lakeland, Florida, born and raised. So, yeah.
And what did you do today?
Today, competed at the National University Championships. I think that's what it's called. And I totaled 185, snatched 84, clean and jerk 180, 101.
101. And so in Olympic weightlifting, right, obviously that total is in kilos. So
Yep.
84 is about 185 pounds.
Okay.
101 is
Yep.
222, 223 pounds.
Yep.
So that's pretty monstrous of a total. How long have you been weightlifting for? Or what's your fitness background before? Have you always
Fitness
done weightlifting?
background. Yeah, so I started CrossFit almost 10 years ago. I was like 12-ish, somewhere around there. That was my first experience with any type of Olympic weightlifting, first time touching a barbell. However, I didn't start training for Olympic weightlifting till about last March. I went in full time.
Okay.
Before that was all CrossFit competition focused.
So you're competing in CrossFit and
Yep.
doing CrossFit and everything
Yep.
from super young age.
Yeah.
And what was, I guess, like the reason why you moved from CrossFit into weightlifting?
Yeah, definitely. While I love the gymnastics because I came from that background, was nothing I was ever very good at as much as I loved it. And the more I did it, the more I hated it, to be honest.
Really?
Yes. So that, and just, I don't know, I didn't feel like I was as built for CrossFit. I didn't enjoy it, but every time it involved lifting, it was like, that's what really got me excited. So looking into like some weightlifting opportunity, I was like, man, like I could actually like do this full time and not have to worry about the other stuff, like I feel like I'm better at this. I enjoy it a lot more. I have a lot more fun doing it. So signed up for my first meet last March and never looked back really. So yeah.
It's really cool when, people are in some type of fitness. Like you mentioned you did gymnastics first, right?
Yep.
It's like you're doing gymnastics, you're doing stuff that's keeping you healthy.
Yes.
And then you're doing CrossFit and you're like not super in love with it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I found this other thing. Like that's so important for I think, people to find what they love to do.
Yep.
It's like running isn't the answer. CrossFit isn't the answer. Like whatever you love to do to keep your body healthy. Is the answer.
Yes, for sure. Yeah,
So,
anything for me that keeps me working hard, that's what I love. So
that's awesome. So now, like, that's of course like healthiness and everything is amazing, but you're also super competitive. Obviously, you have all these medals that you just won. So tell me a little bit about preparing for this competition. Like, what was your expectations? Of what was going to happen? What were some goals that you had like with this competition?
Yeah, so my overall goal was to total 185 or more because I missed that back in November, barely. One jerk, if that was it, I would have had it. So the biggest goal was 185 or more, like get that under my belt. So I was really happy when I hit that because that was the biggest thing I wanted coming into this. But other than that, those were my big goals. Obviously, not to stress weight too much. That's been an issue in the past. It was a little bit of an issue this time around.
It was not an issue at all. It was 0%.
It maybe
she weighed in a kilo. How is that an issue?
Maybe it wasn't an issue, but it was a stressor.
It can be a stressor.
Yes.
Yeah, and definitely, stress about competing and stuff.
Yes.
It can, decrease your performance and everything.
Yes, for sure.
But super interesting that what you said was you wanted to total, 185.
Yes.
That was like your personal goal.
Yeah.
And that personal goal, from what I understand right now, had nothing to do with winning medals.
Oh.
So like
it's my first national meet. I was like, if I could total 185, I would be so happy. So,
right.
Yeah.
And so crazy. It's just ironic, I suppose.
Yeah.
The way that we had to attack the competition ended up just like getting at 185. Like we finished at 185.
Yeah.
But finishing at 185 was exactly what we had to do to like get to the
exactly.
place we were at.
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
It was really
I don't
cool.
think I knew that going. I mean, I guess we sort of talked about it.
Yeah.
But you had a really nice range, you know. Like,
Yes.
So okay. Most weightlifters will have a range of like, okay, if the day goes good, I should hit 175. If
Yes.
the day goes medium, you know, 180,
Yep.
maybe 180. If it's a perfect day, 185. That's my
Yeah.
goal. Tell me how you felt starting the very beginning of the session. Like your first bar, you know, first
Yeah.
with the bar, first starting out. What did you feel?
Starting with the bar, warming up, I was a little nervous because I kind of was a little forward on a lot of my lifts. But once I kind of made some tweaks, felt good with that. Going into my opening attempt felt really good. I also did not look or do the math of what I was lifting in warm-ups on purpose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just like, don't look at the plates, don't add them up, just whatever he puts on the bar, just hit it. So,
That's cool.
and then it was like, going into my first attempt, I kind of had an idea of what I had warmed up to, but I still was kind of like, I don't know what I just hit, but it felt great, so I'm going to go hit this on the platform. So,
Nice.
yeah.
So do you think, is that something you like do in training a lot? Is you kind of like don't pay attention to how like do you not pay attention to how much weight it is, but more how it feels when you train?
Yes,
Okay.
I would say for sure. I'm definitely more aware of my weights in training, like what I'm lifting, but a lot of my stuff is based off of how I feel for the day.
Right.
So
that like that kind of prepares you a little bit to like, oh, this feels bad, do less.
yes,
You know,
exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yep.
That's always cool.
Yeah.
So you go, you know, you smoke the snatches, and then you opened at 81, which was right.
Yep.
81, yep. 81
Yep.
snatch was really good, and saved 84.
Yeah.
Crazy save. Out
That
of 84.
was scary. Yeah.
And then I think something that's always really cool about competing in weightlifting, because at that point, to get to 185, it was, you know, I'm sure that's there in the back of your head. You hit 84. You know, what was the reason why you wanted to go ahead and try to take 87, which would be a PR match?
It would be a PR match. Yep. So there was a few reasons. First of all, I believe we were competing, looking at possible silver for the snatch. I ended up with bronze, but if I hit that 87, I'd be closer to a silver medal or possibly gotten that one. And also just kind of to get a feel for approaching a lift that's my max in training. Like, okay, I've had it on the bar, I've tried it, I know how it feels. Even though I didn't get it, you know, that's another attempt under my belt. So,
Totally, yeah. And I think something that I wanted to ask is a lot of lifters, I think, feel differently. Like,
okay,
the same way that you said you don't really want to pay attention to the weight on the bar, just let the coach kind of like do their thing. I think a lot of lifters feel the same way.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to know, they just want to.
Yep.
So my question is, do you like it when the coach asks you, like, hey, you know, do you want to take this route? You know, you know, do you want to try to take this number to fight for a medal? Do you want to just try to take something more conservative? Like, do you like the coach involving you in what that final route is going to be?
Yes, it's a weird, complex way my brain works, but definitely if I'm on the brink of like, I don't want to look at an attempt and it be my max and be like, I had no idea you were going to put that on. Like, you know, I don't want to be taken by surprise, but I also like not having the stress of figuring out my attempts and stuff is helpful. But yeah, definitely involved in those bigger jumps, bigger lift decisions. Yeah.
I think that one is a little bit more hit or miss. Like, some athletes that I've worked with, they're like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you open me at 110% or 80%.
Yeah.
Whatever you see, like, or strategy.
Yeah.
I think sometimes athletes, when you say like, hey, do this for a medal, they feel like pressure.
Yes.
You know, like, oh, I have to do this for a medal. Like,
for sure.
I don't know. Other athletes, they're like, oh, if I do this, I'll get a medal.
Yes.
So thinking about competing and putting pressure on yourself, right? Like, where do you know, what's things that you say to yourself, you know, like between those two thoughts, it's like the pressure of competing and like, okay, if I do this, I'll win, or if I do this, I'll advance my position. Like, you know, how do you think about that in training? How do you think about that?
So, I don't know. I'm trying to think. So can you reword the question just a little bit?
Yeah, like the pressure of competing.
Yes.
So like we came in wanting a 185 total.
Yes.
That's not competing. That's like I want to. I mean, it's competing as
In a
yourself,
way, yes, yeah.
right? Like that's wanting to do your best.
Yes.
But when you now move into, okay, take this lift for a medal,
Yes.
right? That's outside of your
Yeah.
personal goals. That's competing.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
like
I
when,
see.
when you try to prepare yourself for that pressure,
Yeah.
right? Like what do you think helps to prepare for that part of the company? You know, like when
Yeah.
you move forward past personal,
Yeah.
you know,
The
pressure of
biggest
that.
thing I say to myself, no matter what competition mindset I'm in, whether I'm trying to hit a personal best or it's like, okay, if you hit this, you win, you know.
Yeah.
I still try to stick to the same, like, especially if I've hit this number consistently in training, I just kind of say to myself, you've hit this a million times. Like, you've hit it, you're consistent with it, you know you can do this, just do it again, you know. But it's like, even when it comes to the pressure of competing, I still try to keep that mindset of like, you already got a total on the board, you're already happy, and the way you're about to attempt, you've done multiple times before. So it's like, you just got to go out there, give it your best, and
like what
be
happens
confident
yeah,
in it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
what's the worst thing that can happen?
Exactly.
Like if you don't make it, then like
Exactly.
so what?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I know that there's some athletes, you know, that are maybe they have some other bigger goals, like
Yeah.
oh, I have to hit this number to qualify for pin
Yes.
downs,
Yes.
and like, or in let's say even CrossFit, like oh, I
Mhm.
have to make this placement to get selected for
Yes.
semifinals,
Yes.
you know. So like, like last question about that is just like when there's times that you don't even meet the personal goal,
Mhm.
right? Like you have that disappointing feeling, like.
Yeah.
You know, what's the thing that you tell yourself? Like, that's not even part of today, right? Today's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the last time, right? It wasn't like
Yes.
the last time that we competed.
Yeah, we didn't.
We had a qualification goal.
Yep.
You didn't meet that qualification
Yep.
goal, and then fast forward 5 months later, you're here,
Yeah.
winning medals at the Arnold.
Yes.
Like, and that pressure is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, just when you do end up disappointed, like, how do you come back from that?
Yeah, I definitely think my initial reactions to disappointment could be better. Something I'm working on, but also something I've like got better at immensely through the years. I mean, you saw me in November. I was a wreck, okay? But I will tell you, when I was competing as a teen in CrossFit, it was 100 times worse. Like, yeah. So if I bombed an open workout, or the time I almost made age group qualifiers and I was like 202nd and I need to be top 200, like those workouts were emotional. And it's definitely hard because it's hard to control and it's hard not to be disappointed. But I think my experiences in that and how things have turned out after kind of brings me to a more sane mindset of like, okay, did it happen today? Tunnel vision, get back to training, try again, give it all you got, you know, going back into training. Because it's like, if you work hard, if you do all the right things, like, I'm going to get there, you know, just having that confidence in a sense as well. So,
yeah. And like you said, like kind of the practice of, like, it's going to happen.
Yes.
Anytime that you're pushing your limits, if it's in sports, if it's in like business, if it's in
Yep.
like really anything, if you don't find a spot where you fail, then
yes,
you're never going to grow.
exactly.
So the practice of like being obviously still disappointed,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess like channeling it into
Yep.
the positive
Yes.
next steps
Yeah.
forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there you go. Birds in the pudding, right?
Yep, and
That's
I'm
super
sure I'll
cool.
have plenty more experiences with, you know, disappointment. It's part of being an athlete. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
but
So final question is, what's next? Do you have anything planned? You know, what's going on the rest of this year?
so my idea right now, I would love to possibly drop a weight class. They just changed them a little bit. So I think 70, going from 81 to 77. I know it's only 1 kilo, but it feels like a lot to me.
That's 4.
No, like versus the old weight class being 76
yes.
to 77.
Right.
Like, I know it's only 1 extra kilo I get, but it feels a lot like easier for me. So I would love to drop down possibly by states in April, but we'll see. We'll see. I might do 81. I don't know. That's something I gotta talk to you about. But that was what I had in my head. Okay.
No, you're, I mean, you're super responsible as an athlete.
Yes.
So that's, and then, so states in April.
Yes.
Right?
Possibly
maybe
drop a weight class.
Okay, that'd be cool. And after that, anything else?
I don't know yet. We'll see. It depends on how states go. I mean, nationals in the summer would be really cool, but I definitely have to get a good total at states. So, yeah.
Super cool. All right. Well, great job.
Awesome.
Ready?
Thank you.